Good evening, and welcome to Dom, a Nation according to Dom, with your host, Dom. Today's story comes to us out of Washington, D.C. As John Kerry so intelligently stated, we have 9 years to avoid the worst of climate change. This comes 2 years before we were supposed to experience the worst of climate change, according to Harvard University professor John Andrew. And in 1989, the United Nations stated that we had until 2000 to reverse the effects of global warming, as if we didn't, entire nations would be wiped off the face of the planet due to rising sea levels as a result of global warming. It's 2021, and we're all still here, unharmed by global warming. If you're like most right-wing extremists, then you are spreading rumors that the United Nations, the government, and the mainstream media are wrong. Well, if that's the case, then you're clearly a terrorist. What actually happened, obviously, is that there was an unanticipated cold freeze as a result of a long overdue ice age that took place. Except that that ice age never happened because global warming was there, and global warming stopped the ice age in its tracks. And it left the Earth completely unharmed. Consequently, our Earth is exactly the same today as it was before the United Nations predicted global warming would destroy us in 2000. But rest assured, it is definitely going to happen 9 years from now. One would think that God was right when he said that he would protect us and all of mankind from imminent destruction from all natural disasters. Luckily, we in the Scientific Technology Department have the resources to fact-check this information. Rest assured, we definitely have 9 years before the entire world burns up due to global warming. Meanwhile, Texas is experiencing an unanticipated temperatures with snow and ice covering everything, leaving millions of people without power, and over 24 people have perished as a result. Many conservative nationalists have blamed our green renewable resources, such as windmills and solar panels, for their failure during this time when needed the most. This is clearly fake news. As we all know, frozen windmills and covered solar panels still somehow tend to feed energy into the power grid. We can all rest assured that the multi-trillion-dollar Green New Deal can be trusted over those horrible fossil fuels, and trillions of dollars is worth it to not pollute the environment. As you can clearly see here, they're working just fine. And now let us sit back while we hear a word from our new Commander-in-Chief on this matter, who cares so much about us. Moving on, Trump seizes this opportunity to help Texans and steal the limelight, while hairy-legged Biden sits behind National Guardsmen waiting for an insurrection in his basement. That never happened. This just in from California! Governor Gavin Newsom's recall effort has reached 670,000 verified signatures out of the 1.5 million signatures gathered. Clearly, Governor Gavin Newsom is well loved for his efforts in battling this coronavirus. This also just in. If you're a California resident, do not go to recallgavin2020.com and leave your signature. In other news, the American Civil Liberties Union has filed a petition before the United States Supreme Court, requesting that the all-male military draft be declared a violation of equal protection rights under the 14th Amendment, which guarantees equal protection between men and women and other classes of citizens as well. You can clearly see up at the top here that they have respect toward equality of all individuals. They believe that equality for minority classes means that women, who have been declared a minority race by the Democratic Party for decades, be required to serve in the military and give their lives against their will. This is the best way to show respect toward women. Also before the United States Supreme Court to be heard on February 19th is a case regarding the incredibly honest and accurate election that took place in November and December of 2020 for President of the United States, declaring that the November 2020 election results in several key states were unconstitutional, and therefore President-elect Biden should not be holding office. This claims that there is no current President of the United States, as if Trump truly did win the election, he was not president until he took the oath, which he never took. They therefore argue that there is no President of the United States. But they are requesting the Supreme Court to overturn Biden's win and give it to Trump, because they believe that Trump did truly win the election. Earlier, however, the United States Supreme Court rejected any attempt to get this case before them, before Biden was sworn into office by Chief Justice John Roberts. This suggests that the U.S. Supreme Court cares more about its political stance toward the leftists than the laws that they swore to uphold. Breaking news! A man that was charged for killing the son of a federal judge in New Jersey has a hit list with Justice Sonia Sotomayor on it. Interesting. Let's move on. In other Supreme Court news, several youth last year filed a lawsuit against the federal government because the federal government was not issuing legislation to combat climate change. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals stated that they needed to go to the legislature because the judiciary does not have authority to make laws. These Democratic youth decided to take it to the conservative-run U.S. Supreme Court. They clearly think the conservative-run Supreme Court is going to change the mind of the conservative panel on the Ninth Circuit Court. In international news from the United Kingdom, an attempt to remove God from the oath in the judiciary for witnesses has been rejected. The United Kingdom witnesses will continue to swear by Almighty God to tell the truth. This is a stark contrast to our House of Representatives who are bowing down to other gods that our country was not founded on. It's as though the United Kingdom cares more about God than the United States does. Interesting, as the United States broke ties with Great Britain in an attempt to worship God, rather than the UK. Thank you for tuning in to Domination. I'm your host, Dominik-Alexander, where we trump truth.